Hello everyone. In this video, we will learn how to find the future value of a compound interest problem. So in part A, we are asked to find the cumulative value. Cumulative value is another name for future value, right? It's given that $25,000 is invested today for 5 years and at 6.8% compounded monthly. 6.8% is the nominal interest rate, which is represented by J. And interest compounded monthly, it means there are 12 compounding periods in 1 year. So M will be 12. Okay, so let's input these values into the sheet. PV is 25,000. Interest rate, nominal interest rate is 6.8%. Number of compounding periods per year is 12. And investment term is 5 years. If we wanted to calculate the future value using formula, we would use PV multiplied by 1 plus I to the power of n. So before we use the built-in function in Excel, we need to find I and n. I and n are not directly given. So I is periodic interest rate as opposed to J, which is the nominal or annual interest rate. So when I say periodic interest rate, in this case would be interest per month, right? Because there are 12 compounding periods in a year. And n is the total number of compounding periods in the total term, okay? So we need to calculate I, which is nominal interest rate divided by number of compounding periods. Also, we need to find n, which is basically the number of compounding period for 1 year multiplied by the number of years in the term, in this case t. So because we are going to use the division function and we're going to be using the values in other cells, we need to use the equal sign here. Now we click on J and then we use a slash for division, and then we can either like click on 12 here, or you can just type in B11, okay? And that's it. You press enter and that's your periodic interest rate. To find n, we multiply, again we're going to be using multiplication, so we use equal sign. That's m multiplied by t, which is sitting in B12. So we can just type in B12 this time. And that's 60. Once we have everything done, now we can calculate the future value. This is a built-in function in Excel, so we use equal sign again. And then all you need to do is just type in FV, and then it gives you two options. The first one is the one we're looking for. And then as you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 input variables. These are independent variables we need to give the function in order to be able to evaluate future value. So rate is I, okay, so it's not J. The rate is the periodic interest rate, which is basically here. Then we press comma. The next input variable is activated, n, which is 60, comma. Then PMT. PMT is not relevant for compound interest problems because PMT is 0, right? There is no periodic payments. We use PMT for annuities, which is going to be covered in a separate video. So in this case, because there is no periodic payment, you press 0, and PV is $25,000. Type also is for annuities. Well, it identifies if it's annuity due or ordinary annuity. Here, you could just ignore that. And press enter. That's $35,000.90. So the reason that it's highlighted in red and also it's sitting inside a round bracket is that Excel, just like financial calculator, follows sign convention for cash inflow and cash outflow. Because $25,000 is input as a positive number, then future value is calculated and given in terms of a cash outflow or a negative number. Okay, if it's confusing, you can just see these two numbers, use the absolute value of these two numbers. 25,000 is invested, and then after 5 years it grows to 35,090, right? But if you want to follow the cash inflow, cash outflow convention, then for investment we use a negative number because that's considered cash outflow. Okay, so if you input this negative number, then the future value is given in terms of cash inflow, and that's positive number. Okay, so that's that. In order to calculate the amount of compound interest, well, basically you find the difference between these two numbers, FV and PV, the absolute values though, right? So interest is just future value minus present value. Make sure you use the absolute values without the sign. So that basically 35,090 minus 25,000, which totals to 10,090. So now that you have all the variables in, you can use this sheet for any other problems involving compound interest and finding future value. All you need to input are these 4 given values, right? And then I, N, and future value will be calculated automatically. So once again, the future value function on Excel gets periodic interest rate, total number of compounding period throughout the term. PMT is 0, so you plug in 0, and then comes PV, and don't worry about the type. So again, PMT is 0 for compound interest.